We wanted to make a video for you to talk about how we plan a week of 5 in a row. The biggest tip I can give you is to read the front matter in your teacher's manual. All second edition manuals have introduction information that's going to introduce you to the philosophy behind the how and why of 5 in a row. It will both inspire and excite you to begin this learning journey with your children. I even like to read it each year before I begin lesson planning for a new year because just that refresher gets me excited again and reintroduces all of the reasons behind why 5 in a row does what it does. To begin planning a week of 5 in a row, I like to read through the story first, especially if I'm not familiar with it. This both introduces me to the story and any words and vocabulary that are in it so that when I read it aloud to my children, I don't have to think about it. It just comes naturally. It also allows me to preview the material and make sure that it's a good fit for my children. Next, I open my teacher's manual and begin reading through the lessons that are available for each subject. There are several factors that I use to decide which lessons I'm going to choose. Some of those factors include the age of my child and their abilities. If I'm teaching multiple children, then I'm going to consider all of their ages and abilities. Sometimes I might choose to teach to the oldest child and let the younger ones tag along. Other times I might choose a harder lesson for the older child and an easier lesson for the younger student and teach those individually, either letting them join in on each other but have ones that are focused to their level or teach them separately after we've read the book together. Another factor that I use to consider which lessons to choose is what I know will create a spark of curiosity in my child. If I know that they're interested in sharks and we're studying Night at the Moonjellies, when I look through the lessons, the science lesson on biome and the aquatic is going to be one that I'll pick because I know that we can get some go-along resources that are specific to sharks or other animals in the ocean that they'll be excited to learn about. So I like to harness their curiosity and interests when I'm choosing lessons. Sometimes I choose lessons that I feel are important that they learn. So they might not have a personal interest in it, but that's where the story is going to create that interest-based learning for them. And I'm going to choose a lesson that I just want them to be presented with to broaden their understanding of that topic. For instance, while lesson planning for Night of the Moonjellies, I would choose the social studies lesson on living life near the sea because we live in the Midwest and that's not something my children are familiar with. So I'd really love to create some visuals with video go-alongs and books to just give them that experience since we don't get to have that naturally. If we lived on a coastal town or in a coastal town near the ocean and they had that all the time, then when choosing lessons, I might choose the social studies introduction to running a small business lesson instead, because that would be a new topic to them. Back to choosing lessons for your week. As you look through the teacher's manual at your lessons, you're going to see multiple lessons under each subject. You'll choose 1, 2, or 3 of those lessons per day. 1 is fine, especially if you're going to deep dive and get go-along resources, read a book, or watch a video to pair with that. If you just want to have discussion-based lessons and use the manual only, you can pick 2 or 3 lessons to do under that subject. I use the teacher's note page in my manual to make a note of each lesson that I choose, and then any go-along resources that I'm going to pull to go with that. Books from the library, any websites that I'm going to reference, or videos that we're going to watch, any field trip opportunities that might pair well with the lesson. Also, that's the time that I like to note if there's any supplies that I need to go with that week. So most of the things you'll already have on hand that are mentioned in the manual, but occasionally you'll have an art lesson with a new medium like pastels that you might not already own. So I like to note that in my teacher's note pages that that's something I need to purchase for that week. If you're using the 5 in a row Bible supplement, now's a great time to look through those lessons in that manual and choose which one you're going to focus on for the week. And I like to put that down in my teacher's notes pages in my 5 in a row manual as well, just to have everything kind of in one place. Additional resources are completely optional. 5 in a row lessons are written to be a complete curriculum. You don't have to add anything to them. It is purely up to you. It's a great way to tailor the lessons to your child, to dive deeper into specific interests that they might have. It also is a great way if you have a visual learner to really kind of find a few things to add to a discussion-based lesson that is visual. That will help them. If you are going to add go-alongs, books are the easiest thing to add. They can tailor each lesson to your child's interest, and I'm going to show you how to quickly find go-along books at your local library. It might seem like having a list of books already there for you would be the easiest option, but it can quickly become frustrating if you go to your library and they don't have those books. So it's really simple and easy to find topic-based books in a search online, and I can show you how to do that. To find go-along titles quickly and easily, all you need to do is choose a subject from either the lesson or something that was mentioned in the story, or something that your child asked a question about that wasn't already covered in a lesson, and then search that subject through your library system online. You can reserve books and pick them up when you're ready for them, and it's quick and easy. I choose which subjects to search for based on what I know will interest my students, or things that I want them to be presented with to broaden their understanding of that topic. You can also use Pinterest as a resource. You can get sucked into Pinterest really quickly, but I like to use it specifically for go-along book title resources because I can search a subject and picture book on Pinterest and quickly see a visual of curated book lists that are all based on that topic, and I can look through them and find ones that I know my student will love, or just search multiple titles quickly at my library system and see if they have them in stock. As I mentioned before, go-along resources are completely optional. 5 in a Row is presented in a way that offers a low floor, high ceiling approach. So we have a great blog post that really explains this concept and the philosophy behind 5 in a Row, and I will link to that in the show notes, and I would definitely encourage you to read it. I think it will help you understand how to get the most out of each 5 in a Row lesson based on your child's interests. 5 in a Row lessons provide a level of learning that everyone can enter into, discussion-based learning, and at grade level, lessons are provided for you in the manual. But then it also allows so much room with its flexibility for you to take off with your child on interest-based learning based on their interests and their curiosity, and go really as far as your students want to go. All it takes is just a little help from you to go find those resources for them or teach them how to find those resources. It's a little bit like a dinner buffet. The first time you go through, you focus on getting kind of a balanced meal on your plate. You choose the things you know you should eat, and you pick a few small things that look really delicious and you might want more of, but you start small. And then after you've gotten your meal in, you go back for seconds on those things that you really loved. 5 in a Row lessons are just like that. They provide grade level appropriate lessons for your student, but allow for that spark of curiosity. And once your child asks that question, well, what about, you can take off with them and go so much deeper and learn more about that topic. You just have to help them find where to learn. It teaches you how to teach your child how to learn. And once they know how to learn, they can learn anything they want. Now that you've chosen your lessons and any additional go-along resources, you can decide if you want to fill out a full lesson planning sheet for your week, which will include all your other subjects that you teach during your school day. And if you want to do that, then you'll use the lesson planning pages at the end of your 5 in a Row manual. It's on page 212 and 213 of volume 1. You can make copies of these pages and use them for each week of planning. I follow the suggested 5 in a Row schedule of studies. Mondays, social studies and geography, Tuesdays, language arts, Wednesdays, art, Thursdays, applied math, and Fridays, science. You can do that in any order you like. 5 in a Row is incredibly flexible and can work with your schedule. If your child's in a co-op, you can choose to combine lessons and do 2 subjects on one day if they go to school, if they go to a co-op 1 day a week, or you can just skip one of those lessons. In the past, my kids were in a co-op on Thursdays. That happened to fall on the applied math day. Since we already did a full math curriculum, I would often skip that lesson, or if I felt like it was something that they could gain understanding from, then I would choose to double up and do that, usually on a social studies day as well. On that lesson planning page, you're going to fill in your 5 in a Row lessons for each day of the week, and then you're going to add in your math, your spelling and grammar, phonics or reading, and handwriting lessons for the week as well. Now you have a 1-week schedule that has all of your 5 in a Row lessons and all of your other subjects written out for you. It's documented, you can reference it, and it's all planned. Some people like to plan those like their entire year out in advance. You can also just plan it out a week in advance. It's really up to you. With 5 in a Row, I often plan my school week even just the weekend before. I'll pull out my manual, look through the lessons, especially if I know I'm not going to be doing a lot of go-along resources that week. I might plan it out on Saturday or Sunday of the weekend before those topics that we're going to cover. If I know that I'm going to add some resources or plan a specific field trip, I might plan it out a couple weeks in advance. But really, it's entirely up to you and how you like to plan. If you want to see the week that I just planned out in action, check out our video, A Week with 5 in a Row. We're going to be rowing a week with a night of the Moonjellies, and you'll get to see all those lessons that we just planned out incorporated into our week of study and how that works and what that looks like. Thanks for watching, and remember that you can download free samples of each level of 5 in a Row at 5inrow.com, which we'll link to in the show notes.